מדברים אמזון, הפודקאסט שמקלף את שכבות העולם הסבוך של אמזון, עם עמית רוזנטל ואלי ונטורה, שני יזמים ותיקים ומנוסים בעולם האי-קומרס. בואו נצא לדרך.
ברוכים הבאים לפרק מספר 26 של הפודקאסט מדברים אמזון. אני אלי ונטורה, איתי עמית רוזנטל, והפודקאסט שלנו הוא בחסות רוזנטל לוגיסטיקה, המלווה יזמים ועסקים בכל שלבי שרשרת האספקה, ומציעה פתרונות שילוח מתקדמים בעולם האי-קומרס ואמזון בפרט. ואני מזכיר שאת הפודקאסט שלנו אפשר לשמוע בספוטיפיי, גוגל פודקאסט, אפל פודקאסט ובערוץ שלנו ביוטיוב. והיום לראשונה יש לנו פרק בשפה אחרת, אז נגיד ערב טוב לעמית, ומיד אנחנו נעבור לאנגלית. ערב טוב עמית, good evening, Mr.
Good
Rosenthal.
evening, Gary. Good evening, Mr. Ventura. What's going on, my friend?
Fine, great, thank you. We have the honor to a special guest today, as I said.
Absolutely. By the way, you know, it's the first time I hear you speaking English, so it's nice to know that part of you. So today we have really special guest, and we didn't just bring the first guest in English. It's somebody that I'm following for a long time already. I had a lot of discussion with Liran as well. So Liran Hirschoren, welcome to our podcast. For those who don't know Liran, so Liran is the CEO and founder of Incrementum Digital, and he's also advisor of 8Fig. Liran, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always a little extra nice to be on an Israeli show and audience. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
So before we start our podcast, we just have to close some open things. So Liran Hirschoren, it's such an Israeli name.
Yeah.
Please tell me your connection to Israel.
So I'm directly connected because I was born in Israel.
Where?
So I was born in Bחיפה.
Okay.
My hometown, by the way. This is my hometown, by the way.
Bet Cholim Rothschild. And when I was 6, my father was sent over from his company called El Sint. My dad was an expert engineer in working on the CAT scan machines all over the world, and was sent to America for 2 years. And as the story goes, he bought a business. We were lucky to get a green card and citizenship because my mom was a Hebrew teacher, and so that was the reason we were able to get a green card, and then stayed in America. And
easy days.
Yeah, and you know, because the opportunity to, my parents came to the U.S. kind of, you know, with not a lot of money, and you know, today they're retired. And my dad was able to build a business here, and you know, America's the land of opportunity. So live the American dream. And over the years, you know, I would go to Israel almost every year. And my parents now actually split their time between U.S. and Modi'in in Israel.
Nice. When was the last time you visit Israel?
So I think maybe like it's now probably 3 to 4 years because of the pandemic. I was supposed to be in Israel for Pesach 2020, but all the flights were canceled and couldn't go. But I'm hoping to be in Israel sometime soon.
We're hoping to visit you. So, I'm sure you didn't listen to one of our episodes, or did you?
No, you're correct. I didn't listen to one of the episodes, but I only actually just when you asked me found out that you actually had a podcast. So now I will.
Yeah. So
that's good.
So
good.
you know, Liran, me and Eli have a lot of conversation about shifting this podcast to English in general, just to have a bigger audience. So maybe this will be the time after reviewing your episode to check the situation and maybe to shift it to English in general.
I mean, Israelis, their English is pretty good. So, you know, I think I don't think you'll have an issue with your audience understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Liran, please take us on a journey back in time. Let's go about half a year, 6 months, because before you enter the Amazon world. What are you doing? How old are you these days?
Yes.
And what motivates you? Why are you deciding to go into Amazon?
Yeah. So I would say, so before I was selling on Amazon, I had an online insurance business, online life insurance business. So I had my own business before Amazon. I started that in 2010 after being in a financial advisor, working in the banking industry for probably around, I don't know, 8-9 years. And then started a online insurance business. But probably since about the early 2000s, I always had an interest in, you know, the Google searches we've probably all done at some point early in our life, which was like, how do I make money online, right? Like, and over the years, even while I was working in a bank, I would try a lot of different, what I would call side hustles, affiliate marketing. I flipped domains. I sold on eBay way before Amazon. You know, I tried a lot of things. Some made money, some didn't, but nothing was big enough to leave my job. But internet marketing was always something that I was studying and learning. And then I used that skill set to start an online insurance business, which was taking my background in what I was doing in my career and adding internet marketing to it, and starting that business, which did very well.
What year we are talking about?
So I started that in 2010, and 2014 was when I saw an advertisement, an ad on Facebook for a Shopify course. Shopify, yes. So I'm 40 today. So, you know, 2014, talking about 7 years ago. So yeah, about 33, 34. And took that course. I actually started a Shopify site. I did that in Q4. It did okay. Margins were kind of low on drop shipping. And from that, I learned about selling on Amazon. And end of 2014, around December, I got started selling on Amazon. I started with arbitrage. I didn't know anything about private label. I started going to stores and finding products and flipping them, you know, selling. I would go
retail arbitrage, right?
Retail arbitrage. Yeah, I remember one year when Toys R Us still existed, I went in like, you know, Thursday night. It was like before Black Friday. The stores opened at midnight. I was there. I was buying pallets of products from Toys R Us and putting them in my car, and I would go to Nike outlets and sell products. And then I learned that there's this other world of wholesale and private label. And in about the summer of 2015, I started doing private label, started a couple of brands eventually, and started to really go deep into Amazon. At that point, I decided to go all in on Amazon, and I outsourced all my leads from my insurance website to a friend who was also in the industry. And so my website got a lot of leads from like SEO, and I sent them to my friend in the space, and we split the commissions 50-50. So I had money coming in from the insurance business while I was able to build up, you know, the Amazon business. And at the end of 2015 is when I launched, I think, my first private label product. I got into private labeling, and meantime, I also got into learning a lot, and now a good friend of mine, but a guy named Andy Slamins had a course, and he asked me to help him revamp his course, and that's how I got into sort of the you know, training and like services space.
Liran, can I ask you a question?
Wait. One
please,
question.
Please.
Did you take any course or training when you transition from the arbitrage to private label?
Yeah. So I actually took So Andy Slamans, who's a good friend of mine and has a 8-figure business, private label. He sold one business, has another 8-figure business today. He had a course. The course he originally called it from Alibaba to Amazon was the name of the course. And he didn't even market it. You know, his original group, he just posted on Facebook like, hey, I'm doing this private label thing and I'm going to teach some people. I'm charging, you know, $500 if you want to be in. And he filled it up with like a couple hundred people really quickly. And I was in that course. And even with arbitrage, I learned arbitrage. I bought Chris Green's book, which was about retail and online arbitrage. And so, yeah, I think, you know, learning from others is one of the best ways to create a shortcut to success.
I think
So,
arbitrage
Liran,
and... Oh, sorry, Amit.
Liran, on that, like, I have a question for you. Like, you know, here in Israel, everybody maybe selling products, but on Amazon, but they not really understand the scale of Amazon itself. Maybe you can give us, you know, from a point of view of a US citizen, what was like Amazon back then, let's say in 2015, in terms of like, I don't know, the monster they are now in terms of FBA and so on. Did everybody use them back then as well? Or it's something that grew up dramatically in the past, I don't know, 5 years or so?
I'm trying to think of when I started to get Amazon Prime, and I think it was maybe around 2013 or 2014 when like I actually signed up like as a Prime member. And I mean, almost everything we buy, we get boxes from Amazon. Like today there was a shipment from Amazon. I mean, almost every day, like we're getting stuff from Amazon because we're just buying like almost everything on there. Amazon definitely has grown a lot since 2014, 2015 in the US, but I think 2013 to 2016, there was just like tremendous growth in the amount of people who signed up for Prime, and how, you know, Amazon just has become such an important part of people's lives here that most people couldn't give it up, right? Like my life would change dramatically in like how I get products if I had to give up Amazon or Amazon Prime.
Like for us, it's something we cannot acknowledge it because like we don't have Amazon here, so it's difficult for us to acknowledge the situation. Maybe you can put a little bit of input on that regard, like what is going on with you as citizen there? Like, does really everybody purchase only on Amazon? Does you go to other retailers? Why are you going to other retailers? And so,
yeah, I mean, yes, there are people who purchase in other means, but you know, Amazon van is on my block like every day, and I see like all my neighbors basically getting you know, deliveries from Amazon. And I can tell you, the people who don't have Amazon usually might have somebody else ordering for them on Prime. Like my parents who, you know, don't have Prime, but when they want something, they just ask me to, you know, to order it for them. I shop, and even, you know, like my groceries, like food, I'll order from Whole Foods delivery. So that's also an Amazon product. Other retailers I buy from, sometimes Costco, more for food related things. But maybe my wife will buy some clothing on other websites, like Gap or H&M and things like that for her, for my kids. But almost everything we order from Amazon, and just regular stuff around the house, you know, like, you know, paper towels, like regular household items that you're replacing every month. I order coffee on Amazon. Almost everything I buy is from Amazon. So it's huge, and it's like that for, I think, many people who live in America. Obviously, you know, Amazon has around the world a couple 100 million plus Prime members, and I think more than 100 million in the US. So it's a major part of people's lives, and it's just so there's no other company you can order from and get things like the next day as fast as you can from Amazon. Everything is here in 1 or 2 days, pretty much.
So Amazon, basically, it's a matter of convenience.
Very much so. Yes. Very much convenience. I mean, I'm generally I'm not checking like the price on Walmart or, I mean, I could tell you, like, we just got here, my wife and I were having a baby in February. And we just ordered, the stroller and the car seat, right? Just came from Amazon's $1,000 purchase, together, just came from Amazon, and it's in the front door, and you don't have to carry heavy stuff, and you know what you want. And, it's super, super easy and convenient.
One of the things that the Israeli customers Israeli sellers, they're the same guy.
Yeah.
They can't understand that how come the American people doesn't do market research, because in Israel, the Israeli people, this is $1,000, and in other places,
Don't want to be a fryer, Eric.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a word in English that's called fryer. It's not translation.
Sucker. It's called
sucker.
Being a sucker. No, I mean, to be honest, I mean, when it comes to things that are more expensive, we will do research. Generally, Amazon has very competitive prices. I could tell you actually with the stroller and the car seat, Bloomingdale's was actually having a promotion. If you spent like $1,000, you got a $300 gift card to the store, and I was going to buy it there, but the car seat wasn't shipping for like 20 or 30 days. And it they didn't have it in stock. And we said, look, we don't know, maybe it'll come in 20, 30 days. Maybe it's going to be delayed further. Obviously they don't have the stock. I'm having a baby. I want to make sure I have it when I'm going to the hospital. So, okay, we won't get the discount. We'll just buy it on Amazon. But the Amazon price was the actual, like, the same price as Bloomingdale's, except for this, gift card offer. But the price was like the competitive price, same as you would buy on the company's website. It's a brand name product. So, I mean, generally Amazon, because of the marketplace and because of Amazon as a seller, also, usually they don't mark up more than like the website of a brand. The prices are generally very, very competitive. I mean, think about with private label, right? Like how much price competition exists among sellers. You can usually find really good prices on Amazon. And like, honestly, if I'm buying a $30 product and it's $35 on Target, and it's $35 on Amazon and $30 on Target, but I'm getting it tomorrow, like, I'm just going to pay the extra $5 and get it tomorrow because I want it, right? So the convenience is a major factor. And it's also like Amazon's return policy, like everything is very, very easy. If you have a problem, and you're buying from Amazon, you can return, and you're not going to have issues as opposed to just buying from somebody's website also.
Yeah.
So all those factors make it why, people shop there.
Okay, so let's get back to 2015 when your first private label products are arrived to Amazon. You're excited. What are the next steps?
When was the first selling? Like every seller we already host here, so they know the exact date their first sale was. So maybe
my first sales on Amazon, I know, was December 2014. Private label, I think, was sometime in Q4. I don't know the actual date, but no, I mean, I launched my first product, and it did well. And from there, it was just doing more product research and just launching more and more products. I would say, if I can look back and say a mistake I made was probably not going deep enough on the existing products I have, and just like this desire to just launch more and more shooting and launching more and more products, and not actually going deeper and like generating more reviews. And I mean, if you look back and you know what you know now, and if you knew it back then, you would do things differently. Like October in 2015, you can still get incentivized reviews. You can give away products. Customers could write, I got this product for free in exchange for my honest review. And so if you knew that was going to end a year later in 2016, you'd go crazy giving away, thousands and thousands of units to get an advantage other people couldn't get. But obviously we didn't know it at at the time, but I mean, it was easy to generate sales. You didn't need to even do advertising. If you did advertising, you didn't really need to be amazing at it. But 2015 is when I started to also study more of the Amazon advertising. I saw that Amazon was starting to add more features. And by 2017, it was way more complicated than it was in 2015. 2015, I think you can only do like broad match and auto. And there weren't, placement modifiers or bid up and down. And the only thing you got was a search term report. That was like, I think pretty much it. So it was very different. It was also much easier to get traction with a product. I met recently, or not recently, but in 2019, November 2019, I was in China and I spoke there. And the guy that picked me up, I spoke at Alibaba, and the guy that picked me up was this young guy from the airport. And he said, in 2015, 2014, I put products up just from China, shipping direct from China, no ads, nothing, and they would just sell. Today you can't do that anymore. So I think the lesson is that take advantage of what's available, and probably people will look back at 2021, 2022, and in 5 years and say, wow, it used to be really easy back in, 2020, 2021. So it just shows the benefits of being aggressive in terms of growing your business, because it doesn't necessarily get easier.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about the future. Just before we get back to the past.
Yep.
What do you think that's going to change for the Amazon private label in particular, and advertising in the next 3-4 years from now? So what we will discover in 2025, and we said, shame that we didn't do it in 2021.
I think now, up until, let's say, the last maybe year or so, I think people really focused on Amazon. I have an Amazon business and I need to find ways to grow this Amazon business. And I think the shift is I have a brand and I need to find ways to grow the brand. That's really coming. What does that mean? It means all the things that, direct to consumer D2C brands have had to do to sell successfully on their website, I think Amazon sellers have to start doing now in order to be successful on Amazon. So it's getting more competitive. And you're going to have to do things you never had to do before as an Amazon seller. Driving ads from outside of Amazon into Amazon, working with influencers, social media, all these additional channels that you never had to think about before. I think you already should have started, but you really need to start thinking and taking action and putting it, if you're going to build out what's my plan for 2022, it can't just be about, Amazon launch and ads without anything from outside into Amazon. We're starting to do it, and we're seeing some very good results with Google ads into Amazon. I wouldn't say necessarily in terms of like you're going to get a better ACoS or ROAS, but you are going to see like ranking benefits. And I think Amazon is also looking at a lot of those signals in terms of, are you a real brand? What are you doing, outside of Amazon that is going to affect Amazon? And the stronger brand you build outside of Amazon, the more branded searches you're going to have on Amazon, which gives you, better pricing ability, gives you lower cost to acquire customers. I think this is the shift that sellers need to make. And this is, it's getting harder because you need to build kind of like new skill sets you never had to think about before. I never had to think about Google ads or know anything about it as an Amazon seller. I never had to think about working with influencers as an Amazon seller. I just focused on like my listings, rebates.
Yeah, but 2 years ago, I think
Liran and Eli, why is it that to selling on Amazon becomes such a nightmare for most of the sellers?
It's not a nightmare. Not a nightmare.
No, not nightmare, but it's harder, much harder than what it used to be. Why is it? Just because of the number of competition?
No,
or there is
I
other
think
factors involved? Because it seems to me that everybody discusses here all the time that what used to be is not what is current now,
by the way,
especially what's not going to be in the future. So
that's true for every platform. Google used to be easy. I had an online insurance business, and in insurance, the cost per click at the time was like $20 a click. I couldn't compete against like the big insurance companies. And so I had to use SEO and YouTube and other means to get traffic. And then Penguin and Panda update happened, and it killed a lot of like SEO tactics and strategies that people used. Facebook ads, if you talk about 5-6 years ago, used to be easy money. Now you have iOS 14 changes and the ability to retarget and get better data, and it's much harder to be successful with Facebook ads. So I think any platform in the beginning to try to get traction makes it easier. Like Instagram, you used to post something and get a lot of organic reach. Then at some point, Instagram killed it. Now it's TikTok. I posted a video about a week ago, same video on Instagram and same video on TikTok.
Right.
Instagram has 16 views and TikTok I have 700,000 views.
Wow.
On this video.
Wow.
Happened to go viral, but it's just easier to get traction. Eventually TikTok won't be easy either, but today it's the easy, platform to get traffic. So I think it's a natural evolution of every platform, but I think it's also a number of factors. COVID made a lot more people focus on e-commerce, and also COVID brought a lot more money into the space. And so you have more sophisticated money that is coming in, right? Thrashios of the world and brands that are willing to spend the money to do very good creative and branding. And it's more competitive. And also your competition is not the same competition. In 2015, I didn't have to compete against Thrashio. I competed against you, and we both started with $5,000.
But I think it's not only the competition; it's the tools that you mentioned. Because in 2015, 2014, I sold as well, and we had automatic sponsored product, manual sponsored product, and if you were a vendor, so you could do a header advertising. And now you can do display, and you can do creative and video ads and SPD, DSP. You can do whatever you want in advertising, and it became such an interesting place. So it's not only the mechanic people that turn on or off keywords. You need to think. You need to be creative. You need to think branding. You need to do. You need to have a set of tools that you can't do it by yourself.
Right, and think about it. You didn't have Helium 10 in 2014, right?
We had Jungle Scout.
Yeah, you had Jungle Scout, which was basically then just a Chrome extension, right?
And a Unicorn Smasher.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, I remember that. That was a free tool.
A free tool, yeah.
So you didn't have also, the same set of tools. And in a sense, like what you had was and I think kind of like any platform, you typically have the small players first, and then they pave the way for the big money to come in. So the small sellers proved that this model works. And then 2018, Thrashio launches, right? And then everybody else comes in. But like small sellers proved this private label model works. And yeah, I think it's a combination of like more competition, growth of e-commerce, and the sellers and the tools getting more more sophisticated. So I think with marketing, it never stays constant. Things are always changing. And yeah, like TikTok is the platform today. And in 3 years, there'll be something else that is working better around social media, or, we'll be in the metaverse or something, right? Shopping in another way.
But shopping in the moon.
Yeah. I can imagine putting on the glasses and like walking around the mall, right? And going into stores the same way people used to do, like social commerce in the same way in the next 5 years. And maybe Amazon will be there, maybe it'll be somebody else who, with technology, things will change.
Liran, I have a question for you. me and Ellie had an earlier conversation this morning, Israel time, about other topic, but one of the key points we discussed there was about what's going to be like the spec in terms of who is going to be the seller like in 2, 3, 5 years. Because Thrasio was the first aggregator started to purchase some brands and so on, and it's just become like a total chaos. Like every day, a new aggregator purchasing new brands and so on.
Today, by the way, today Heyday announced that they raised $555 million, and that's just today. Yeah.
So, do you think they're going to be a small seller or medium seller like in 5 years or so, or the spec is going to be with the big aggregators? And, you know, there are always going to be new sellers trying to sell on Amazon, but generally speaking, what's going to be the platform looking in like 5 years or so?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there are many brands, and I think from the viewpoint of like aggregators, they still don't have that many brands. Even if you look at Thrasio, they have maybe 200 brands, and
I think like it's 100 maybe.
No, it's more. It's probably around 200, but still, right? It's relatively compared to the amount of like opportunities out there. And they're valued at, you know, billions of dollars with 200 brands. So there's still going to, you know, there's still many brands out there available. I think there still will be smaller entrepreneurs starting businesses and selling on Amazon, but I think the amount of money that you need and the sophistication you need is greater to have success. I mean, will there still be people starting with $10,000 having success? Yes, but it's going to be less. Like I think you need more money and more sophistication in order to be able to to compete. I also think it's going to be interesting like how Amazon evolves. I mean, I made a post on LinkedIn this week asking, should Amazon at some point limit the amount of reviews they show on a product? I mean, what happens in 5 years where, a bestseller in every category has 1 million reviews? Can anybody else come in and enter the space even with a better product? Not unless you're marketing heavily off Amazon, right? So it'll also be interesting how like the Amazon platform evolves. So for example, if Amazon makes that change and every product only shows a maximum of the last 12 months of reviews, or 500 plus or 1,000 plus as like the maximum amount of reviews, that'll be a major game changer where people can come in and compete much more easily because you don't have products with 20,000, 50,000 reviews. So, I think it also depends how Amazon evolves, but I still think there will be sellers that are able to come in and create a business off Amazon, but you need to be more sophisticated, and I think you'll need to have more money. I don't think $10,000 is going to be easy. I mean, if you think about today, just shipping costs, right? Like are going to eat up like all that money. So you need significantly more money. Also, the Amazon algorithm, kills you if you go out of stock. So you can't go and start a product with like 100 units and try to have success with it.
Right.
Okay, let's go back in time a little bit.
Yep.
So 2015, 2016, you're a seller on Amazon. How many brands you have these days? 2 brands. How many products?
One brand had a smaller set of products. I got to maybe like 10 products with it. The other brand had, I don't know, probably 20, 30 products. It was in clothing, so it had like more
variations
and listings. That's the brand I said I should have really focused more on less products.
You always say should have. So let's talk about the should have, because I think you and me have the same issue of focus. Because you have one thing that's working well. Okay, let's create another one. So you were a 6-figure seller, 7-figure seller these days?
7-figure. I mean, by 2016, 2016, I'd done over $2 million in sales, I think.
Nice. And talking about exits, back in the days, it's not was on the table.
Right.
So you just sell and make profit. Did you arrive to a point that you want to sell, or you can sell the business?
Again, like that wasn't really part of the thought process at all.
Yeah.
The only time I heard like discussions around it is sometimes people would get like an SBA loan and buy somebody else's brand using like funding, but it was, you know, person to person type of thing. There wasn't a whole, you know, industry around it. Actually, the first time I heard of people buying brands was, I think it was 2018, and it was with a company called 101 Commerce. They were actually pre-Thrashio, but they failed. They actually ended up selling their brands to Goja, which is now an aggregator, but they didn't have success. And it's interesting too, because people only remember Thrashio. They have the bias to remember the company that succeeded, but not the ones that, you know, that failed. But that was the first time I heard, and they were called 101 Commerce, and their goal was to buy 100 brands in a year. That's why they need, or 101 brands in a year. I think they ended up buying 8, and then kind of like, that was it. They couldn't handle it, you know, and I think they didn't know what to expect in terms of like, you know, products being taken down, black hat stuff, like, and how to manage it. But no, exit wasn't on my mind, but I did eventually sell one of my brands to a competitor, actually.
Nice.
That I, you know, knew privately, kind of like off Amazon, and I ended up selling to them. But it wasn't on my mind at all. 2018.
I guess it was a low multiple, about 2 or 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like what you would, you know, 5x, 6x of what you would get now. But it was just an opportunity to, you know, to sell the brand. The other brand that I had a ton of SKUs, and I eventually just shut it down because it was just like too much to manage. And then I ended up buying into another brand that I still have in the arts and crafts space, into an existing brand that already had products.
The evolve of the number or the percentage that these days the aggregators purchasing the brands is amazing. Like from what you mentioned here to now 6, 7, even sometimes 8x is absolutely amazing. The evolve of the situation there.
Yeah, and that's because, and I think that's going to change. I think the multiples are going to go down because today there might be 60 or, you know, plus aggregators that are all competing to buy brands, and I don't believe there will be 60 aggregators in 2 years.
Why?
Because I think a lot of them are going to sell to Thrashio and to other companies. You know, I think you'll have a small amount of companies that might go public, and then the other ones will be issuing stock to buy the other ones. Like once you're public, you can issue stock like cash. You know, you give them stock, and you can buy the company. And I've already heard of some players that are looking to sell their portfolios to others. So they're not all going to make it, which means there's going to be less competition. And if there's less competition, it means the multiples go down. So I do think that it's the next 12 months are a really good time to sell, assuming that you're happy with, you know, the number, and you don't want to keep growing the business. But Thrashio, you know, was buying things that 2.5x, you know, multiples, and today there's aggregators buying 5, 6, you know, 7.
Do you think it's in favor of the aggregators that the number will decrease, or do you?
Sure. Yeah, of course, because, you know, there's probably deals today that Thrashio doesn't buy because of the way the multiples have gone up, and aggregators who really need to deploy the money and, you know, and get some brands bought are going to pay. And anytime, you know, you have new players in a market, there's some kind of like irrational buying that happens. I mean, I'm sure there's already aggregators that have made purchases that, you know, regret buying them because they saw a big COVID increase and they're down. There's many, many, many brands and niches that are down in 2021 over 2020.
Yeah.
And a lot of the aggregators have taken most of their money in debt, and, you know, at, I don't know the exact rates, but around 10% interest. So they have to, you know, they have to make those payments. What happens when the container gets delayed and then it gets taken for inspection and the products are out of stock? You know,
my life.
Yeah, I mean, I heard of an aggregator the other couple weeks ago that wanted to sell a product to another aggregator because they couldn't keep paying. They were paying $7,500 in penalties at the port every day or something. Wow. And on a product that was like under 100 BSR in sports and was just like out of stock and losing so much money because of, you know, shipping and probably other operational issues, you know, that they're having. So you know this probably better than anyone, you know.
Yeah.
So there's going to be probably a major you know, consolidation in the space, and I think as a result you'll see less competition and multiples probably going down, you know, going down somewhat.
So your forecast
I think that the biggest thing we discussed here until now is that sellers should look selling their account in the next year or so.
Yeah, I mean, look, assuming you know, assuming you've grown into a place where you're happy with the money that you're getting, and, you know, if you have $1 million business and you think you can grow it to 10 million over the next 3 years, then you should keep growing it. You know, but if you've gotten the business to 1 million EBITDA, 2 million EBITDA, and you can sell it for 7x, you know, and get a lot of money, never have to worry about working again. Yeah, I mean, you should do it. Especially, you know, Amazon has there's risk to selling on Amazon. That's why the multiples were 2.5 in the first place. The multiples were very low to begin with, but that's because having a business that only relies on one platform is risky.
Right.
I think that most of the sellers, even if they sell with 1 million EBITDA, it don't have the resources to grow to 10 million.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's why, you know, not to do a plug, but that's why 8Fig came into existence. Their whole mission is to help people grow into 8-figure brands through the right growth capital partner. But, you know, sometimes it's not just the money, it's also the team and going from the person that was doing everything into the business to knowing how to really build up scale operations and hiring and, you know, other skill sets that you need to develop if you want to go from $1 million to $10 million dollar business. And I would say for me, probably that was a missing skill set for me to grow to 10 million because I'm not strong, let's say operationally. I'm more strong on like marketing and sales and ideas and vision of where I want to go. And I feel like in my Amazon product business, if I had somebody stronger at the time, like operationally, that I could have grown it further. But like logistics and inventory and all that is not like my strong suit. And I feel like that's also a missing component for sellers that want to grow from 1 million to 10. You need both, right? You need good product development, sales, and marketing, and then you really need operations. And most people are not good at both. And that's where it makes sense to hire or to have a partner that could do that. Because I see the difference in my agency.
Let's talk about your agency a bit.
Yeah, I mean, so in my agency, you know, we've grown a lot. And part of that reason is because I have a partner who is very, very strong in operations. And complements the marketing sales side to me really well. And I feel like if I would have had that in my product business, it would have gone to $10 million.
So like, it's amazing. I can tell honestly here. Yeah. And to be fully transparent, I feel the exact opposite with you, Liran. Like I'm really strong in operational side.
Right.
and can manage like chaotic issues, now with the logistics, but I'm really poor with the marketing and so on. So
Right.
I really can relate to what you're saying in this term.
Yeah, look, I think it's hard to find somebody who's great at both, and a business needs both, a marketing machine and operation machine. And I think it's also one of the reasons like Thrashio has the reputation that they've done very well, is because they've mastered both the marketing and the operations of these businesses. And I feel like where most of the aggregators will fail is in the operations, because it's complex. Think about how complex it is to run one brand or two brands or three brands. Now think about 50, right? With logistics issues and warehouses, and you have to be a master at operations.
3 or 4 episodes ago, we invited Tomer from Aterian.
I know him.
Yeah. So yeah, they told us about the complexity of managing multiple thousands of SKUs, supply chain, finance, marketing.
Yeah, it's very, very, I'm sure it's incredibly challenging, and you need a lot of expertise at it. And at the same time, if you're just good at that, but you don't know how to get your products in front of customers, in the search results, then you're also going to fail. So you really need both. And my advice would be for any sellers, if you're doing it, you can do everything at $1 million, but at 10 million, I think you can't do everything, and you really need to have the right people around you. And I've learned that it's worth paying for the right people, because it can make the biggest, difference in your business, even to bring somebody on as a partner or, to hire. You're not just gonna, sometimes it's not just about having another VA, in your team. It's really about having the right, strong hire, leader in the company that has incentive to grow, to help you grow the business, and has skill sets that complement, your skill sets.
Do what you do best, outsource the rest.
Yes.
No, you really pointed on a critical time for myself, by the way, Liran. So I take a lot from this conversation, by the way.
Great.
Liran, we're approaching to the end of the episode, and we have a steady question in every show. The same question that we ask all of our guests. So the question is, and you know what? It's super, super interesting to hear your answer to this question. If you will win $10 million net tomorrow morning, what will we do with them?
I would obviously invest the money. Probably the majority of the money I would invest, but I would diversify the investment between real estate and stocks and cryptocurrency. I'm also a big believer in Bitcoin and Ethereum and cryptocurrency, and I have flipped some NFTs kind of for fun. I've played around with a little bit of NFTs, nothing too serious, but you definitely see the dollar losing so much value. There's huge inflation numbers now in the US, prices going up, and real estate right now, interest rates are still very low in the US. So if you buy real estate, you can get a 30-year loan at 3%. With inflation going up, it's a really good, hedge. I would be investing long-term. Maybe I would move for my house, maybe not, I don't know, but or maybe buy a second home somewhere. I'm sure I'd invest in my own lifestyle somewhat, but really I would invest long term with a lot of the money, and I'd probably want to own. I'd say I'd want to own at least 10 Bitcoin with some of that money.
You do believe it will go higher, much higher?
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be volatile, and I think it's going to go in cycles and be volatile. But I wouldn't be surprised. We're now November 16th. If we hit 100,000 or close, obviously this is not financial advice, but I wouldn't be surprised if we hit close to 100,000 on Bitcoin before the end of the year, and maybe 200,000 in the first quarter. And then maybe it drops again. Like it goes in cycles, but I am putting money personally, into it.
But I didn't hear in your answer the word Amazon.
Correct, because
is that the reason?
No, because I think what I would do next in terms of like working is more be an advisor to brands for some shares, or equity, similar to like my relationship with 8Fig or others. I think what I would want to do is, instead of get up and like run a business every day, is get up every day and have, 3 or 4 meetings to advise some companies and where I can add value without necessarily working too hard at the same time. And, that's probably what I would enjoy doing, or actually investing in companies with some of that money. I'm not sure if necessarily Amazon brands, but like sort of like seed investing or tech investing, with some of the money, and where I could be like a strategic advisor to, to a company.
I think following of what we talked earlier, I won't be surprised if I won't see you investing in some aggregator.
I can't share, but I do have some stock in some aggregators. So I do advise and work with some, and I am hoping for those IPOs. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think, again, if I were to like retire tomorrow, then I don't think I could sit and do nothing. And being like an advisor is not the same responsibility as running the business. And, I can still add value and have like a sense of purpose, getting up and doing something every day.
Hey, Liran, in February, you're going to be a dad for the second time. This is the job in life. So
yes, exactly.
You should always have something you occupied yourself eventually.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. So listen, Mazal Tov from both of us, Eli.
Thank you.
It's your first, second, third, fourth.
Well, no, it's my second with my wife now. I have another child from my first. I was married once before, but it's my second with my wife now, and we're very very excited. It's actually, from a personal standpoint, I would say probably a lot of people go through this, but not a lot of people talk about. But we went through like 5 years, and my wife mostly went through 5 IVF cycles that all failed.
Whoa.
And then it happened naturally. So we feel very, very blessed, and, just thankful, to have another child coming up.
So yeah, we will wish you good luck.
Wish you both all the best and good luck.
Thank you.
With the labor.
Liran Hirskom, thank you very, very much for your time. It
was a pleasure,
to...
Liran, honestly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Sure.
And have a great Q4.
Thank you. Yes, you too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.